The first knock on my door came with authority, sharp, deliberate, and loud enough to make a statement. Not the kind of knock a neighbor uses. Not the kind you ignore. I remember thinking, this is either about the pool, or it's about something much bigger. I opened the door already knowing one thing for sure: Karen had finally escalated. I'd moved into the neighborhood 6 months earlier. Quiet cul-de-sac. Gated community. One shared luxury pool that everyone pretended they owned but nobody actually respected. From day one, Karen made it clear she considered herself the queen of the HOA. Clipboard, smug smile, passive-aggressive notes taped to doors. She didn't like that I swam early mornings. She didn't like that I didn't chat. She really didn't like that I refused to hand over my pool key when she requested it during a board meeting she wasn't even authorized to run. The pool keys were issued by the management company. Mine was valid, paid, documented, legal. Karen didn't care. She cornered me one afternoon by the pool fence, arms crossed, sunglasses tilted down like an interrogation lamp. "Those keys are being misused," she said. "You've been reported." "By who?" I asked. She smiled. "Me." I laughed. That was my mistake. 3 days later, that knock came. When I opened the door, a uniformed police officer stood there. Tall, rigid, hand resting near his belt like he was hoping for resistance. Behind him, at a careful distance, Karen watched from her porch with a look that said checkmate. "Sir," the officer said, "we've received a complaint regarding unauthorized access to community property. I'm here to collect your pool keys." I looked at his name tag. Same last name as Karen. Of course. "Am I being detained?" I asked calmly. He frowned. "No." "Then I'd like to see a warrant or HOA documentation authorizing this." Karen's smile faltered just slightly. The officer stepped forward anyway. "You don't want to make this difficult." That's when the air shifted. Because while Karen thought she was winning a petty power struggle, and while her husband thought he was flexing authority, neither of them knew the real reason I'd chosen this neighborhood. Or why I stayed quiet. Or why I documented everything. I reached into my wallet, not for my pool key, but for a badge I hadn't shown anyone in this community. "I don't think you want to do this," I said. The officer's eyes dropped, then widened. FBI, undercover operations. The silence that followed was deafening. Karen took a step back like she'd been slapped. Her husband stiffened. "What is this?" "This," I said, "is me asking you to step off my property before you make a career-ending mistake." He swallowed hard. Karen rushed forward. "This is ridiculous. He's lying. He swims at odd hours and won't follow HOA rules." "Ma'am," I interrupted, "you've been harassing me for months. You filed false complaints. You used your spouse to intimidate a civilian without legal authority. And unfortunately for you, this neighborhood is already under federal observation." Her face drained of color. Because here's the part she never considered. The management company had been flagged months earlier for financial irregularities. Missing funds, bribes, selective enforcement. The HOA board was already under investigation. I wasn't just living there, I was embedded. Her husband took a step back. "We're leaving," he muttered. "Oh no," I said softly. "Now we're just getting started." Within a week, subpoenas went out. Financial records, email chains, security footage, Karen's endless messages demanding special privileges, threatening residents, and boasting about her husband handling problems, were all neatly compiled. At the next HOA meeting, the room was packed. Karen sat front row, pale, rigid, silent for the first time since I'd met her. I stood when my name was called. "I'd like to formally submit evidence of abuse of power, harassment, and unlawful use of police authority," I said. "Additionally, I'd like to inform the board that federal charges are pending." The room erupted. Karen tried to speak. Her voice cracked. "This is a misunderstanding." "It's not," the HOA president said quietly, eyes on the documents. "It's all here." Her husband wasn't there. He'd been placed on administrative leave that morning. 2 weeks later, the HOA board was dissolved. Management was replaced. Funds were recovered. Karen resigned in disgrace before she could be formally removed. And the pool, it reopened with new rules. Fair rules. Transparent rules. I swim there every morning now. Sometimes I catch Karen driving past the gates she once ruled, refusing to look my way. No clipboard. No smug smile. Just silence. I still have my pool key. And she finally learned the most expensive lesson of all. Never assume power, especially when you don't know who you're really dealing with.